Okay, welcome back guys to a new YouTube video. We're going to talk about like the zombie-verse and add a little bit of the werewolves into it. But I haven't seen a lot of werewolf movies, so you know. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, so first one is Zombieland. It's a movie that I would say deserves S tier because it has like good movie aspects, it has good acting. Like at the beginning of the movie, it starts off with like the curly guy. And he's like so afraid of the world, and he like comes out and becomes like, he basically just goes, and after his like parents has helped him, they like help him get like a step on his feet and like get somewhere, you know, like find a career and stuff. And then continuing on, the end of the world happens after like he's living in his house one day, and then like the end of the world just happens, and everything's like all odd. And you know, even the scene with the Twinkie where he meets that guy on the highway, which I can't remember his name, and it's so amazing because there's even one part where they go to like the humans, or even the second one too, because there's two of them. And then the second one where they find like that human survivors camp, and they like survive there, and they like show like all the zombies are coming, and how all this and that, you know. It just has also really good camera depictions, like overviews and stuff. So I would say the acting is really good. It's not like horrible, you know. Oh, and this scene where like the girls are like, I think it's a mall or like a store, but that scene where they're like in the store and they're like showing off like how they're tricking the guys, because they fight a fat zombie, you know, and that's awesome, you know. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is Resident Evil. I know that the game and the movies are different, but the one thing that this Resident Evil does really well is like showing off like a zombie movie, like what if a zombie movie, you know. The movie kind of starts off with them like the scientists like let out a zombie virus, and so like the humans go like to underground to like fix like find a cure or whatever, and they bring some zombies down there to like clone them and figure out how to find a cure to the zombie virus. And so the girl, I just can't remember her name, she like comes up to this overworld, right? Because they left the overworld and they left everything behind, like cars and electricity and everything else. And so on the overworld, the girl like comes up to kill the zombies, you know, to eliminate all zombies on Earth, and then pretty much from there, like the whole world is saved on like the end of it. And also, there's also spoilers, so if no one wants to see like what I'm talking about, you know, there's spoilers in the movie. I'm talking about spoilers from the movies I've seen, I mean. But in order to do, we're gonna get to putting that as an A tier. I think it's an A tier because it shows like different kind of zombies and like boss zombies, you know, and that's really cool. That's pretty much it. And then the next one we're gonna talk about is Pet Sematary. I think, that's so tough. I would say that Pet Sematary is a B and not a C. And I'm not just going all the way down, you know, like 1, 2, 3, you know, from the list. But I'm pretty much just saying that the Pet Sematary is not one that I remember. So I will actually be right back, guys. I'm going to go watch the trailer and remember what Pet Sematary is. I've also never seen the new ones. I've only seen the 2003 Pet Sematary movie. And I thought it was a phenomenal movie. I loved it. And yeah. Okay guys, I went and watched the trailer so I could like give a better overview and explain the movie. So Pet Sematary is a movie I really liked because it's like monsters or like human bodies can like humans can come back to life type deal, like with some sort of ancient ritual curse that like makes them walk around, but they're always like hungry. They're always hungry for like eating and stuff, you know what I mean? And the scene where they're like in the hospital, and the scene where like the guy comes out of his car, and the most beautiful scene is the one where they talk about leaving the city, and the girls are like talking about her prospects and how she wants to like make really good plans for her future and stuff. Like that was really cool and stuff. And the best part was when they showed like Shoshone Hispanics or like Indians, showing that they needed to do this or whatever, like the ritual was needed to protect the people of the city. And it was like something that they do every year or something. But anyways, I would say that it's, that's so tough. Because we do have to rank them through D and C tier. C and D tier. So I would just say, I wouldn't say it's like the best movie you've ever seen. But I'm going to have to put it as C tier. So I'm not just, like just making them all amazing, like all of them are beautiful movies I've seen of the like zombie categories. So the next one we will get into is the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's No Land. Now I will be putting it through like the entire movie series. I think there's 8 of them, right? 6 or 8 of them. But anyways, I would say this one's A tier. This one's A tier because Dead Man's No Land showed something that I wouldn't have seen. Like it surprised me. It made me like really excited to see like Pirates of the Caribbean movies. You know what I mean? And obviously it's like in its own movie rights. And the new one, I've seen the new one, and the new one's like a branch timeline of the original Pirates of the Caribbean. But I'll say this about the Pirates of the Caribbean series in a whole. I think it was phenomenal the way they took the route and they completely rechanged what it means for pirate movies and everything. It's not just like you go to war with some other guy and then like this happens or that happens. There wasn't even scenes like in other pirate movies where there's like zombies or anything, or there's like something new to it, you know what I mean? Where the guy literally survived it somehow with some curse or something. Because there's just some movies where shows you've seen them and the guy comes back, and the way that they rewrote it was that he like basically didn't go on that mission or whatever it was, and so it was like someone else who looked just like him, which is so confusing. It's not even right or correct. Like that's not good storytelling at that point. But in other ways, I really liked it when they did the boat scene and they did like what happened and how the guys became like water monster, like water zombies or whatever it is. Kind of like in Minecraft, I don't know if you see like a water zombie. But Minecraft doesn't do a good depiction of that. So the mods do, but not the originals. Okay. So the next one is called Wolfman. I've seen this movie. I can't remember the other wolf movie I seen, werewolf. And I did talk about Twilight. Twilight is such a good series. I'm not doubting it. It's just not for me. So I didn't put it in this tier list. I didn't really like it, but maybe someone else did. I would say werewolf is a B tier. Here's why. I feel like there's just like too many aspects of like the storytelling. Like I wish they could have had more actors be werewolves, and that there's like some sort of like werewolf family out there, or like there's like this Kieran Ying there. But it just showed off like one on how the dad lives. I think it was Minnesota. I can't remember. It was like he's there like in this wood place where they live just in the woods, and how did I describe it? Oh, they basically, so the father is like the protector of like that land, and how what happens in those woods is like very dangerous, and there's like, it doesn't talk about like anything else, just kind of more of that, and how that the werewolf has been eating people in that city and stuff. And then that's pretty much it, because then the son comes back to take all the prospects because the father's not alive anymore. And the son like went off seas to find the real life because there's no life there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so the next one I would say it's C tier. Here's why I consider it C tier. I think it's a phenomenal film overall, but it still doesn't beat Resident Evil, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Zombie Double Tap, and Zombie the first one, Zombieland. So yeah. I would say that for Zombiever, it was a good film to like kind of bring like some fun to it, and like what if beavers could become zombies somehow because of And it's all like, some of these movies are actually like research fact based. Like this one was based off, what if a beaver had eaten something underwater that was not infected but had elements of infecting elements. So like maybe he inhaled like dust, and the dust in the air infected the beaver, you know what I mean? Something like that. Like maybe the water or like some sort of stem in the water infected it, so then it basically became a zombie and it started eating things. That's what it's based off. Now, I think it's C tier because the scene where they're in the water, like the part where the girl like gets abducted, like pulled down in the water after the guys scared the girls. And I think the girls did scare the guys one time, but I can't remember that scene. So yeah, where they're in the water and she just gets directly pulled. Like a beaver can't directly pull you like that, you know what I mean? So that's where like the fantastical, you know, fantasy of the movies come out. Yeah, so that's one. The scene where like, okay, the scene like where like I think it was a beaver or a guy. He like turns the corner really fast, and it's just not realistic at all that the guy or the beaver would just turn really fast and just be there. You know, that's another reason why I call it C tier. I still say it's like a fun, amazing movie to watch. You know, if you're a zombie fan. But the next one we're going to talk about is I Am Legend. Will Smith. Okay, so I will say this is considered S tier. So the reason I consider this S tier is because I Am Legend is based off another research fact thing, which we know this is not possible because we've created, not a cure, but we've created another way to fix or to, how do I say, I don't know what that's called. Okay, so I don't know the exact word for this, but like it's based off, what if cancer became a virus? Like what if it, instead of just killing off people because you need a heart, it became like this virus where people were able to cure you from cancer, but you always needed more blood in order, you needed like more something, you know what I mean? Some sort of human substance to keep your body going, almost like Venom, but except Venom's not really, you know, like all there because it's like the same thing, it's just cancer. Like it's like saying if I didn't have all three of my livers, I would have to eat another liver in order to keep living, if that makes sense, and then that would give me more life. But yeah, I think I Am Legend is S tier because it was one of those movies from back in the 2000s, so it's just legendary. And there's not a lot of this fake like speaking out like there is now, you know, like some actors like say some stupid raunchy stuff, like super raunch, okay, and there's no need, you know what I mean? Another thing is like they're fighting against the actors, saying you didn't do a good job acting, oh you're just a jerk, and you know, like nobody cares, bro, just make a good movie and shut your lips, you know what I mean? If you're gonna say something bad about it, don't be like crazy bad about it. Like the actors nowadays say some horrible stuff. But in order to do, another reason I want to give I Am Legend a good scene is the scene where he's like got the doll, and he's like hanging from like a rope trap that like a cancerous human has set up. And so that scene is so. Well, no, actually he set it up, didn't he? Okay, either or. It was one that was accidentally pulled, and he had like a trap that he set up, and he was like hanging like this, and he's like right here, and the guy is like off, the doll's on the inside. But yeah, in order to do, we're gonna get to the next one, and that is World War Z. I'll put it as B tier, and let me tell you why. There's some elements to World War Z, the movie, that just kind of throws me off. Like, how could it be that humans wouldn't get eaten by zombies because they're not intelligent? You know what I mean? Like, that's very, very fantastical. I also do believe that maybe the virus that comes from World War Z is maybe research-based, but it's also still fantastical because any type of, unless you're saying the zombies, like as soon as you become a zombie, you lose the ability to hear. So maybe that's like another reason why like the World War Zombie thing could be, you know, research factual. But I just want to say it's all fantastical on this one. And the reason being is because zombies wouldn't be able to hear you, then therefore they wouldn't want to eat you or whatever it is. Or if you're not intelligent enough to know how to walk around a zombie, you know. But maybe, you know, maybe sound is affected our human ears and you become a zombie. But like it's based off like they were like doing something with like chemicals, and one chemical got on a human, and then all of a sudden from that human that was in the research facility, which the scientist wasn't infected, it was based off that he had the cure, right? That one scientist. Then all of a sudden they took blood samples from him and they cured it. And what happened is, since someone accidentally touched a poisonous like sample that they were using, it affected him, right? But then when the scientist had gone in there to cure it and then he left, other humans got infected somehow because of his genes or something, right? So that's why I say it's fantastical, but maybe there is some research based on it. It's just not there. It's not all there. Now another movie that I really love, okay? 28 Days Later. It's like a movie based off where these people are like traveling in like the zombie apocalypse has already started, and it's based off like it's like, that's very tough. It's like all based off like you hear these recordings on the news of like chemicals in the air, and all of a sudden the chemical in the air is like infecting everybody, and so all of a sudden anyone who wasn't infected before the infectious chemicals in the air that was like accidentally spread out was still human. It wasn't a zombie, which that's crazy to me. Maybe this could be true factual research based, which I don't even think 28 Days is research based. It's got to be fantastical, because how is it possible that chemicals in the air could infect you? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you just be eliminated as a human? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you just like flat out lose your life if a chemical was infected and it was poisonous? So my thinking is that maybe there is some sort of thing where chemicals can be infectious, but it wouldn't turn you into a zombie or nothing. Not like advanced warfare. Like advanced warfare could be true, because it's like all chemicals, like it's like in this tube where all chemicals basically like are poisonous, and how it's poisonous is because like it's like a liquid, and then as soon as you throw it, right, it releases this like infectious chemical thing that turns into a zombie. But the thing is, it's a liquid first, so that's where it makes sense. You know what I mean? The other one where it's just like chemicals are accidentally spread out and they're just like used to like for plumbing, and it's used for like concrete, and it's used for like other stuff that you need it for, you know. That's where, and also tears is in the middle of it. That's where I could see it's real and it's true. That's where like maybe World War Z's type of idea, where like maybe it was a chemical, right, a juice chemical that accidentally touched it, and it got others infected, you know. So that's one. Another movie, I would say it's D tier, okay? I don't know, I want to say it's C tier or C plus tier, or maybe another category, you know, tier listing. And here's why. I think Warm Bodies is a true factual based thing, where maybe your skin could like, because I've seen a couple of things. You know, I saw one person one time where they were like pale, but they said it was from something, and they said like they didn't have a lot of iron in their liver or something. But I'll say this right now. I think Warm Bodies is only true if your skin is adapting, or it came across something that turned it different colors, you know, like maybe not an infection, but more like flowers or something. Or I can't think of the other one. Oh, from like, I can't remember what that's called, like foods. Maybe it came from like a food, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, your skin starts changing colors, you know what I mean? It just oh, that's another thing. I think it's called Asperger's, where like your skin comes off, you know what I mean? And so like your skin is changing all different colors, you know what I mean? That's another idea based. But I think maybe there is some research based on it, and then they just throw like fantastical ideological listics into it, which is not bad, you know. I think it's also a really good movie. I just want to put it as D tier because I don't think it deserves A or B tier, because there's some scenes in the movie that just ruins the movie, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it makes it worse than what they tried to do. I just feel like they ruined what they had going, you know what I mean? So that's why I call it D tier, because they ruined what they had going and they didn't continue the good part of what they had going. Okay, another one is called The Walking Dead. Now I won't base this off like its own universe type, kind of like the Resident Evil. It's based off, let's see. Okay, B tier. So Walking Dead is considered B tier, and it's based off like, that's another tough one. They don't talk about what the virus is on this one as much until you continue. So, from my understanding of what The Walking Dead is, an infectious virus came out, and it's been out there for a while. And also in the new like series that are coming out with The Walking Dead. Okay, so even with the new series of The Walking Dead coming out, it keeps continuing the story of the infection. Like the infection, I think, comes from like clones. So like, let's say you were able to clone somebody and all of a sudden the virus like continued to spread, you know what I mean, from the cloned people. Because if you've ever seen a little bit of The Walking Dead from like the hospital scenes that they did from the new series and from the old one, it shows a little bit of the humans being able to cure themselves. And the way that, oh, and also the one scene where they're at that like research military base as well, where the guy was able to find a cure, but you always needed more of the cure because you were like basically a clone of the humans, basically. And so basically how the infection spreaded was that it was from one person being sick, and then all of a sudden he got somebody else sick, and so it basically the sickness continued from there. That was it. So it was basically the flu virus. But that also gets me like in the other aspect of like, maybe what if we're clones, and so the flu is our virus because we've been cloned. So yeah, that's one thing to take note of. I do believe that it also gets too fantastical because it's like then humans can't like be friends with each other and they fight against each other and one another, which could be true, but I don't think that's going to be true like our lives, because humans even in 2024 and 2025 and so on, so forth, they're not divided as much. They're more like coming together on a lot of things. And so that's, you know, one reason. Okay, but another one we're going to talk about is Dawn of the Dead. So Dawn of the Dead, I would say, is an A tier. And the reason being is because, shoot, okay, I have to think about it for a second. So let me think. Okay, so again, Dawn of the Dead, a movie. It's based off like, what if somebody ate something in their food, right? And it turned them into a zombie. So it made them like, it's kind of like the idea of being like infected by food, but the idea is more based off that like, let's say they ate this food and it contained some sort of element. Not like chemical element, more like, would it be gene? I don't even know on that part. Yeah, I had to do some fact-based research on that one. but it's more like they ate a food that made their brain hungry. You know what I mean? It made their brain like super hungry for brains, but not like. See, that's the confusing part. Not like for human food or for human body parts, just brains. And I think the reason being is because it has to be like genetically modified food that caused it, and the genetically modified food was probably not, you know, how do I say, modified correctly, and so the humans became zombies, and so now they crave brains and they eat them, you know, and that was it. So that's what Dawn of the Dead is, and I think it's a really good aspect of that idea of what if we ate the wrong foods and we became, or like our modified food like became infectious to us. That's why if you eat a lot of burgers, your brain doesn't want to eat anymore because of like some other like dopamine and toxins in your brain that releases, you know, and it helps it like kind of be more human, you know, just like think and be cognitively there and alive. So that's like basically Dawn of the Dead's idea. I think it's research based or scientifical based. All right, now the last. I'm gonna put The Last of Us C because I'm not liking what I'm hearing from The Last of Us and a lot of the aspects between it. So let's do C tier. Now, The Last of Us is a game that I love to death. All right, the first one got me hooked. The second one turned me off, and the reason it did is not because of the story that they wanted to continue. It was more of the aspect of the multiplayer. I love The Last of Us because the multiplayer brought a new shooter fighter to the elements, and where you could like throw napalm, so you could throw like dynamite, and you could throw like what is that called, tomahawks. You can throw tomahawks, and then another thing that you could never do in a Call of Duty game is throwing knives. You could never throw a knife in Call of Duty until, you know, the later ones, the newer ones. And so I would even say that's like, how do I say, that's like gameplay based, you know. But let's get into the story based. The infection is like a sporous type of infection, like almost like if we ate a mushroom, and it was like, so it infected our bodies, you know what I mean? But it was like a slow progression thing. Like it was from a plant that kept growing, and it didn't stop growing, like lead and I can't remember what the other one is. Somewhere where it's just like brown. It's like lead and some other element I can't think of. But it's all based off like, what if the plant kept growing and it didn't have no stop, and that was the infection, and then it was like alive, and what it did is it became alive over the years, and it controlled the dead human bodies. Not like the series is different. It's almost like they're saying like, oh, it can grow it can travel like in the ground and stuff, which actually seems more reasonable than the other part where like they cut it off from the grown stem, and then it grew, you know what I mean? Like, so like a spores. So yeah, so that one is very C tier because some of the story aspects, like of Joel and Ellie, Joel dying in the series, and Ellie like continuing the series and like fighting her enemies, and you know, as the one enemy that Joel basically creates in the story, she continues to fight her. And then I just also think it's kind of stupid that there's no element of, see, that's tough, like of life, I don't know, but they did do a good job of tying it all together and where it went. I don't think this story deserves a part 3 or a part 4, because number one reason is because I didn't like where the story was headed. Like, they should have ended off the story there on part 2. Like, I'm okay if Ellie got her own part, but like if they're gonna do a part 3, they shouldn't continue Ellie's story. They should cut her off and do like a new character. And they did have other characters where they continued, But then they kind of just cut them off and didn't really like lead them anywhere else or like show more of them. Then hey, they could have done more with a girl, you know what I mean? They could have done like a third girl, you know what I mean? But they only had 2 girls when they told the story of The Last of Us and how the infection is spreading and how there's like no reason to live anymore and there's like no cure and like the government, like Fedra or what's the other one? Fedra and I think it's the GOV is what it would be. But some other like government facility where they're still around and they're like protecting people from the virus and there's like barely small places to live. So yeah, I don't know. That one's C tier because then from there you just don't know because it ends off with like the girl taking another friend of hers to the hospital where she was gonna like get the cure. But I just think that it needs to stop at some point because they killed off Joel. Another idea they could do for Joel is that they could make Joel become alive again with like more scientific research, like if they kept experimenting on his body and like he came back to life or whatever and they were able to rebuild him from there, you know what I mean? Like maybe a clone or something. But I don't know, from there that's where I cut it off and that's my whole list of the Zombieverse. So, where'd the screen go? Okay, that's my whole list of the Zombieverse, guys. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching. And if you guys want to see me like watch these movies, you know, it just takes a lot to do these videos. And I'm not paying for an editor. I paid for CapCut, but I don't know. There's other editors out there that work better and the recording just doesn't crash or doesn't lag. Well, it stops working for a certain point, but at least it tells me. CapCut doesn't tell me. It just goes away and it's like, bro, come back to me. You know, even the Windows recorder, same thing. So in order to do, guys, I hope you guys like the video, subscribe, stay safe out there, and yeah, peace.